gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages.
Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the My 2 Cents podcast, presented by and hosted by G2. I am G2. This is episode 223 of the Sunday edition of the podcast, and I would like to ask every single one of you guys, the first-time listeners and the returning listeners, how are you doing? I'm hoping everyone had a lovely week. If you didn't have a lovely week, I'm hoping that you at least had a good week. I'm hoping that no one had a bad or sucky week, because if you did, I feel sorry for you. I apologize for any bad things that did happen to you this week, and I'm wishing that you guys have a great to lovely week this upcoming week, as today is supposed to be the start of a brand new week. I always say this every Sunday episode, and I'm going to continue saying it now. I don't want people to stress so much. If you have things on your plate that you cannot control, or things on your plate that's too much for you, I want you to look at your list of things that you have to take care of and select certain things that you know you could take care of. Meaning, let's say you have a list of 10 things to handle in that week. You know, some of those things are going to take more than one day. Take out of the 10, probably about 5. Or if you feel up to it, do it 6. I don't think people that has a list of 10 things are able to do all those 10 things, especially with the way the world is working so much against people. I think just trying to accomplish as much as you can without stressing yourself out is the greatest thing that you can do, especially in this time, because stress is a big killer. It's a silent killer to a lot of individuals out in the world now. So please do not stress yourself out so much. Handle what you can handle. As I stated, stress is a silent killer, and adds on to your mental state and also your physical state as well. So please do not stress yourself out this week, and please try to be well, try to be great, and please always try to be kind and courteous to everyone that you do come in contact with. Okay? Just by being kind and courteous, you don't know what that can do to someone's day. It could probably perk them up and get them moving about the right way. Or if they were having a bad day, you just being courteous to them can change their mood, and that can just be a chain of events for them to be nice to other people as well. So please be nice, be courteous, don't be a dickhead to anyone this week, and just try to be the best person that you can be, and please do not stress out. So, with that being said, I do have to start off today with your National Food Days of the week. Today being May 4th, it is Homebrew Day, so please drink responsibly, and also Candied Orange Peel Day. May 5th, it is Cinco de Mayo Day, so they have Hoagie Day on that, and also Enchilada Day as well. May 6th, it is Crepe Suzette Day. May 7th, it is Roast Leg of Lamb Day. May 8th, it is Coconut Cream Pie Day. May 9th, Shrimp Day. And then May 10th, to round us out, it is Liver and Onions Day. So with that stated, that is your National Food Days of the week. And now let's get into some of the news topics that happened this week. Before I get into the United States, I do want to talk about one topic that did just happen on Saturday. It was covered by the Associated Press. It would talk about a woman being killed early Saturday in Greece when a bomb she was carrying exploded in her hand. Police would say the 38-year-old apparently was carrying the bomb to a place outside a nearby bank around 5 a.m. Several storefronts and vehicles were damaged by the explosion. Police said the woman, whom they did not publicly identify, had a criminal record related to drugs and prostitution and had been involved in at least one robbery and thefts in the past. The Greek Police Division for Organized Crime was investigating the incident, while authorities were also investigating whether the woman might have had ties to extreme left groups. Now, I don't know what's going on in Greece or Greek at all. This popping up in my timeline was real shocking to me, because when I think of Greece, I don't think of bombs exploding. I think of art. I think of some of the architecture over there in Greece. That's just my thought process of that. So I don't think of bombs kind of being the thing over there in Greece, to be honest. But surprisingly to me, they're saying that Greece has seen occasional bombings as well as targeting killings according to various organized crime groups. So I'm not certain if this was a part of that or not. But if you're over there in Greece, I would like to know, is this a everyday thing or bi-weekly thing or just a bi-monthly thing of bombings happening? But everyone out there in Greece, whether you're going to visit there for this summer, because again, kids are coming out of school, I say relatively soon, because we're in May now. Summer vacation usually happens around this time. If not, this time by the end of May, beginning week of June, the kids are out. And again, certain people do the whole out of the country, vacations with family. If you plan on taking your kids to Greece, please look at the Greece news, because again, I don't want no one to be caught up in any bombings over there, and also I don't want no locals as well to be caught up in any bombings as well. So please, if you're in Greece, just be careful. That's all I can say to anybody over there with that. Popping over here to the States, I do want to talk about an update on a news story that I did talk about on my Wednesday midweek breakdown episode. I talked about a woman crashing into an Illinois after-school program, killing 4 students. The update on that was, when I did talk about this news topic, they were testing her for any type of alcohol, controlled substance, trying to figure out what could have contributed to this driver crashing into, as I stated, this after-school center. NBC News will report that a toxicology report for Marianne Ackers did come back, and it read negative, and no charges has been filed. Illinois State Police Director did say Thursday Ackers was taken to a hospital and provided both blood and urine samples for testing. Investigators are reviewing evidence that a medical emergency may have led to the crash into the building at an after-school center. The evidence is still being developed. There's a lot of work still to do, and we're going to keep doing that until all possible leads and explanations has been exhausted, the director would say. Now, that's what the director would say. Now, Miss Ackers would get a lawyer, and the lawyer would speak to ABC affiliate WICS and would say this. Miss Ackers left work at 3 p.m. local time on Monday, April 28th, when she experienced a medical emergency while driving her Jeep Wrangler. She was westbound on Walnut when at 3:20 she suffered what has now been diagnosed and confirmed as a seizure of some type of degree. It rendered her completely and utterly incapacitated at the time, and as a result of that seizure, she has no recollection of what occurred. So that's what her attorney or lawyer would say. First and foremost, rest in peace to all 4 of the individuals that lost their lives because of this incident. And I'm going to just state this because, again, they're still investigating this. Wednesday, I was waiting to see if there was going to be a reason why this thing happened, whether it was going to be drugs or medical. What I mean by medical, like she took some type of pills or something that could have caused this to happen. And now we got it. It's negative. And the lawyer has now said it is a seizure. I just don't know how this is going to play out. I really don't know, because people lost their lives. And if this was a seizure, this was just a freaky thing that happened at just a moment's time. And I don't know how they're going to punish Ackers if they happen to do that. So again, I'm going to wait to see how this handles. But again, rest in peace to all 4 individuals that did lose their life because of this incident. And once more information does come out about it more, I will bring it back to you guys on this broadcast. Now, moving off of that, I do want to move over into hoping for well wishes for the man that did fall over a railing at a baseball game this week. Associated Press will write about it. A man who fell from the 21st foot high Clementine wall in right field at PNC Park during Wednesday's night game between the Pittsburgh Pirates and Chicago Cubs remained in critical condition. Pittsburgh Public Safety, which includes Pittsburgh Police and EMS posted on X Thursday that the incident is being treated as an accidental in nature. The man who fell was identified Thursday as Kevin Markwood. Markwood was tended to for approximately 5 minutes by members of both the Pirates and Cubs training staffs, as well as PNC personnel, before being removed from the field on a cart. He was taken to Trauma Center, where he remained on Thursday. So if you could, whether you believe in a higher power or not, please send some prayers or well wishes to Mr. Markwood, because they are still saying that he's in critical condition. I'm hoping that he does pull out of whatever's badly happening to him right now. I am happy that so far he hasn't passed away, because things can make a turn for the worse at the time of this recording. But at the time of this, they're still saying he's in critical condition, but he is still alive. They're saying that falls like at baseball games, because of like their protective walls, people have died whenever they fell and landed like on the baseball field. So for him just being in critical condition, they didn't say that he passed away on the field. That's already, I say, half the glass half filled. Looking at it on the good side, he's still living, but he's just in critical condition. That means he always can improve his condition. So I'm willing to look at it on that side than the bad side, if you will. So long story less long. Give Mr. Markwood your prayers, your well wishes, and let's just hope that he recovers from this nasty fall here. Now, continuing on with the well wishes, I do have to give well wishes to the people that did lose their lives in a crash that happened this week, Thursday to be more specific. ABC News would talk about it. They would say 7 people were killed in a fiery crash between a van and a pickup truck on an eastern Idaho highway near Yellowstone National Park. The Mercedes passenger van, which was operating as a tour vehicle and carrying 14 people, collided with a Dodge Ram pickup carrying one person around 7:15 p.m. Thursday. The van was traveling eastbound towards Yellowstone National Park, while the truck was traveling westbound, police said. 6 people in the van, all foreign nationals, and the pickup driver died in the crash, police would say. The passengers in the van, including 12 individuals of Chinese nationality and one of Italian nationality, the Idaho State Police said Saturday. The group was traveling to Yellowstone National Park as an excursion organized by Sea Tour Holiday LLC, a large escape receptive tour operator that provides international travel services. The pickup driver was identified as 25-year-old Isaiah Monroe of Texas. Police said the names of the victims in the van will be released by the coroner once their families are notified. Continuing on in the article, they would say all occupants involved in the crash were transported to hospitals, including 3 flown by air ambulance. The others were transported by ground ambulance with likely non-life-threatening injuries, police would say. 2 survivors have been hospitalized at Madison Memorial in stable condition. 3 others who suffered injuries were treated and released, according to a hospital official. 2 patients were also taken to Eastern Idaho Regional Medical Center, the hospital said. The case remains under investigation, so that's what we have right now. Again, I don't know what to say right now other than just I'd like to give my condolences to the people that lost their lives in a car crash. They say it looks like it was a head-on collision. I don't know what to say more about it until more information comes out about it. But again, I want everyone to be careful out there on the roads. The road is a real dangerous, it's a real dangerous place. I know we take that for granted every day because as an adult, you're running those roads every day, whether it's to go to work, go to the store to pick up something, running down to grab your brothers or your children from school, or running them to their activities or whatever may have you. We run the roads every day, and you always come across people on the road, whether 1, they're not driving fast, 2, they're slow on the road, and I mean like extremely slow that people have to hop over them. And in the process of doing that, you have to, from time to time, look over to see if you can hop over them. And sometimes you might get clipped because you try to go over to the other lane, not seeing a car coming. You end up in an accident right there. Or if you're now trying to hop over this car, that car now becomes a dick and tries to speed up, and that can lead you into a crash right there. There's a lot of things that happen on the road that I just want people to be careful. I want people to be careful of their surrounding, and I just want people to just be careful as, again, you're running the roads every single day. And now, once again, I have to throw this out there. Children are almost about to be on their summer vacation. School is about to be out. It's close to it. And with that stated, a lot of kids are about to be on these roads, whether they're learning to drive, they're able to drive, or their mom and dad or the siblings are now just driving them because now they got a lot of free time on their hands. I want people to be safe out there. Please. I don't want to see a lot of accidents this upcoming months. I don't want to have to report on that here. Just please be careful, please. So again, condolences to everyone that lost their lives here. Condolences to the people that knew the people that lost their lives here. I am glad that I'm glad that there were some people that came out of this still living. But again, there were still casualties here, and people did lose their lives. So again, condolences to people that did lose their lives here, and love and light, and well wishes to the families in general. Moving off the condolences here, I now have to talk about government, and I have to prefix this and give a disclaimer. The thoughts and opinions that you're about to hear about me talking about government comes from solely G2 Gerald Garrett. This is not no political agenda that I am pushing here. I am not a Republican nor a Democrat. I am just me. All my thoughts are mine. They're not curated by nobody except mine. And I'm not trying to make you think one way or the other. I just want to deliver the news and give my opinion on things that's happening in government. So take that how you feel. That's just me being me. And I always want to give that disclaimer anytime I talk about government, especially now with Trump being in office, because we're in a time where, again, everything's just so topsy-turvy. And speaking of that, again, first one I do want to talk about, Associated Press would talk about it. They will say the Trump administration asks the Supreme Court to let Doge access Social Security systems. The Trump administration asked the Supreme Court on Friday to clear the way for Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, to access Social Security systems containing personal data on millions of Americans. The emergency appeal is the first in a string of applications to the High Court involving Doge's swift-moving work access to the federal government. It comes after a judge in Maryland restricted the team's access to Social Security under federal privacy laws. The agency holds personal records on nearly everyone in the country, involving school records, bank details, salary information, and medical and mental health records for disability recipients, according to court documents. So that's what they're trying to access, just to let you know what Social Security has on you. So that's something to know and to be informed about, okay? The government says the team needs access to target waste in federal government. Musk, now preparing to step down from his work with Doge, has been focused on Social Security as an alleged hotbed of fraud. The billionaire entrepreneur has described it as a Ponzi scheme and insisted that reducing waste in the program is an important way to cut government spending. Now, you had Solicitor General John Shedeur argue Friday that the judge's restrictions disrupt Doge's important work and inappropriately interfere with executive branch decisions. Left undisturbed, this preliminary injunction will invite invite further judicial incursions into internal agency decisions making. He wrote, he asked the justices to block the order from U.S. District Judge Ellen, I want to say her name is Hollander, in Maryland as the lawsuit plays out. An appeals court previously refused to immediately to lift the block on Doge's access, though it split among ideological lines. Conservative judges in the minority said there's no evidence that the team has done any targeting, snooping, or exposed personal information. The lawsuit was originally filed by a group of labor unions and retirees represented by the group Democracy Forward. The Supreme Court asked them for a response to the administration's appeal by May the 12th. So they have to respond by May 12th. If not, I think Doge will be able to start trying to get into people's Social Security. I say all that to say this. I don't like the thought of someone being able to look at millions of people's things. I hate it. I already know the government has access to all that. We get it. I think every American or anybody that lives in the United States, I'm not going to say it's a conspiracy thought, but I think that everyone kind of knows that the government has you on lock and key. They know your bank statements. They know all these different things, right? Just for now, again, we're in this new administration, technically an old administration, but with new workings, and they're really ramping this up. We have someone that's working in government that never worked in government before, and I'm talking about Elon Musk, and he has his own department, and he's trying to now access millions of people's Social Security. I don't like that, not one bit. What does he need for that? What does he need? Let's put it like this. For the people that you are already kicking out of the United States, and I'm talking about the migrants that you guys have been doing this to, I'm pretty sure you guys have already looked into their Social Security if they have one in the States, okay? And you guys have seen what you needed to see for that. Now you're trying to target other Americans out here. Now, they might say, well, people still might be collecting a check for someone that's dead. If someone's dead and someone's still collecting a check, I'm pretty sure you guys should be able to know who is dead. Let's be honest. Is someone be able to file taxes under that person's name? If so, that's crazy. And I don't think people has enough time on their hands to do that. So I don't like the thought process of that being an excuse to look into someone's Social Security or trying to get into the Social Security system. That's one right there. I don't like that. Two, there's a lot of things being revoked or being put on the table to be revoked from people. And for them to be able to look at someone's medical records, whether they are disabled mentally or physically, you now are going to be able to look at their records, and you will be able to decide whether they make the list for what you guys want to keep on the table or not. Again, as I said, a lot of things are starting to be on the chopping block for Americans, people that are not from America, that are on green cards, or that they're foreigners here. There's a lot of things that are just being off the table and just being removed, okay, in this new administration. And I just don't like the thought process of them being able to look at someone's medical records. I don't like it. And again, people that are disabled, whether they're physical or mental, I have a feeling they're going to be hit if people within that Doge administration is able to look into their records, because then they will be able to say this person meets the qualification for what we are putting out there right now. This person doesn't, because what we value, they don't meet that criteria. You know what I mean? So again, I just don't like the idea of the government of this particular one being able to look at people's Social Security, and they're going to start making judgment calls on things. I don't like it. I hate it. I'm hoping that Doge never gets access to people's Social Security. I'm just hoping that. So again, whenever more information about that particular news topic comes around, I for certainty will be bringing it back to you guys here, because I have a feeling if Doge is able to get into people's Social Security, we're already seeing people being stripped away of benefits and all that. It's going to happen way more frequent whenever they get into your Social Security stuff and have all your information. So again, I'm hoping they don't access it, but time will tell. And whenever information of importance of that comes back around, I'll bring it back to this podcast here. Now, continuing on, still in government, the Associated Press, once again, they will write up an article, which is Trump administration settles with Maine over funding freeze over dispute of trans athletes. President Donald Trump's administration on Friday agreed to halt all efforts to freeze funds intended for a Maine child nutrition program after initially suspending those dollars due to a disagreement between the state and Trump over transgender athletes. In response, the state will drop its lawsuit that had been filed against the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Maine Attorney General Aaron Fry announced. It's unfortunate that my office had to resort to federal court just to get USDA to comply with the law and its own regulations, Frey said in a statement. But we are pleased that the lawsuit has now been resolved and that Maine will continue to receive funds as directed by Congress to feed children and vulnerable adults. Now, for a little backstory on this whole thing of Maine not getting their money, suing for it, here's what happened. There was a disagreement between the state and federal governments over whether Maine was complying with Title IX. That's the federal law that bans discrimination in education based on sex. They said that Trump had accused Maine of failing to comply with his executive order barring transgender athletes from sports. So once that happened, Maine Department of Education could not access several sources of federal funds for a state nutrition program according to court's written order. Maine quickly sued the Trump administration, where the state's attorneys argued that the child nutrition program received or was due to receive more than $1.8 million for the current fiscal year. Prior year funds that were awarded but are currently inaccessible total more than $900,000, the lawsuit states. The lawsuit also said that the program was anticipating about $3 million that is typically awarded every July for summer meal program, sponsor, administration, and meal reimbursement. A federal judge ordered the Trump administration to unfreeze funds last month after finding that Maine was likely to succeed in this legal challenge. So there you have it. So Maine is now going to be able to get their money back. I'm happy that they're able to get their money that they need to for whatever they want to do with it. I don't like the idea, again, of big government. I'm talking about the top brass trying to hinder a state from doing something that's right. I don't know what's up with the whole banning of transgender athletes. That's not my bag. Again, that's more of a woman fight to have with the whole transgender athletes trying to get into their sport. Because again, I've stated this on a previous pod in the past when I talked about this. You don't really ever see women that transition. That's the proper word. Excuse me on my word choice. But that transitioned over from the woman physical body over to a man presentation and the identification of a man. You don't see them really playing in like men's sports, like on the men's basketball team, the football team. You don't really ever see that. It's more of the opposite of a man transitioning over to a female presentation. They embody themselves as a female and they do the female basketball and all the other female-esque sports. That's where you really see that at. So again, that's not for me to really get at that or anything for that. But I don't understand what's up with the top brass, meaning the president and his cronies, having a problem with the transgender athletes and them doing what they want to do over in that sporting world. I don't get it. I will probably never get it, to be honest with you. And I just don't like that he tried to have a state stop that. I don't like it. And I like that the state did fight back against the top brass, and ultimately they kind of won. Not even say kind of won, they did get their win. Because you were trying to freeze our funding. Ultimately, you couldn't freeze our funding. You have to give us the money that we're supposed to get. So I'm happy that Maine did stick up for themselves. It did fight back against the top brass. I am happy about that. And I'm hoping that all the other states that feel a way about Trump or this administration doing something that's not just ethically right, but morally right. They're fighting against something because they're doing it wrong. I'm hoping that they continue to do that and they come out and actually do fight against top brass if they ever do try to get their funding froze, like Maine almost got their funding froze. So I'm having a Maine for fighting and they getting their money. I want to say this is the last thing about government that I do want to talk about because this was in bad taste, extremely bad taste. The Telegraph would write up an article about Trump posting AI photos of himself dressing as the Pope. I'm not so certain how to take this, to be honest with you, because I'm not a Catholic person, but with the Pope just passing away, and you know the title of a Pope, you dressing or having the AI imagery of yourself as the Pope, whether you made that imagery or not, you just happen to share that imagery of yourself dressed in the Pope regalia, that's going to be seen in the wrong light. Truly is. You're going to have people that will be riding for Trump saying it was all just jokes and all that, whatever. But you got people that are really in the Catholic, like, that's their thing. Like, people don't play around with religion, bruv. They don't. People do not play around with religion at all. People hold the Pope in a high regard. And the past Pope that just passed, people really held him in high regard. And now you're going to publish a photo. Again, I don't know if Trump or whoever's running Trump's social media page, whether it be on Twitter or what's the other like social media platform that he's on, Truth Social, whatever platform that he's on. I don't know if he's manning it or someone else is manning it. Whoever decided to share that photo of him in the Pope outfit, you are a world leader who was at the man's funeral. And now, I want to say the funeral just happened last week. So a week later, your team or you, again, I don't know who, decide to publish a photo that's AI of you in his garb. It's not going to look good, bro. It's not. I'm hoping that by the time this episode drops, they already scrubbed that, took that down. But if not, well, the world, not saying the world, the internet is forever. People will always find the tweet that has been deleted. They can always find that. People can find a photo that you think has been scrubbed off the internet, but is not scrubbed. Someone always has that. So the internet is forever. But this was just in bad taste. It was, man. It was in bad taste, and I'm hoping that, again, if someone did do that on Trump's behalf, on his team, they got to get scolded for, or they might get released from their duty. That's the least that could happen. But this was just in bad taste, completely bad taste, because now I do wonder, people in the Catholic religion, how they felt about this. I would like to know that. Hopefully, by midweek breakdown, I'll be able to get some of the reactions and read them off, because I really am interested in that. But just seeing that photo and that imagery, it didn't look good. It didn't look good. And yeah, that's just nasty work, my man. Nasty work. Anyway, finally getting off of government news, I have to talk about something that transpired last week, because last week was the draft. We got an understanding that Shedeur Sanders, who is the son of Deion Sanders, was drafted, I believe, the 5th round, 144th pick, I believe. There was a video that did come out of a defensive coordinator's son prank calling Shedeur Sanders, and now there has been some fines levied at the Atlanta Falcons and also that defensive coordinator. The Associated Press will write up that the Atlanta Falcons has been fined $250,000 and the defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, has been fined $100,000 as a result of Ulbrich's son participating in that prank call. The Falcons, who disclosed the role of Ulbrich's 21-year-old son, Jax, in the prank call as the son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders was waiting for his name to be called in the draft, said they accept the discipline from the league. At a news conference, Jeff Ulbrich apologized to Shedeur Sanders, his family, Falcons owner, and the rest of the organization. He would say, my actions of not protecting confidential data were inexcusable. My son's actions were absolutely inexcusable, and for that we are both deeply sorry. The NFL has taken action, and I fully respect the punishment. We take full responsibility, my son and myself, and we will not be appealing the fine in any way. Going forward, I promise my son and I will work hard to demonstrate we are better than this. The Falcons said in a statement that they appreciated the NFL's swift and thorough review of the matter. We are protective in addressing the situation internally and cooperated fully with the league throughout the process and accepted the discipline levied to Coach Jeff Ulbrich and the organization, the statement said. We are confident in our security policies and practices and will continue to emphasize adherence to them with our staff, whether on or off premises. Now, the reason why they say on or off premises was that Jax Ulbrich happened to come across the draft contact phone number for Shedeur Sanders off of an open iPad while visiting his parents' home and wrote down the number to later, well, as you know, do that prank call. I would like to say this. The Falcons getting fined $250,000. That is a drop in the bucket to an NFL owner, if we're going to be honest, because they spend a lot more money on that, I'll say, on a regular NFL day, and they make that back on a regular NFL day, okay? So $250,000, that's not that big of a fine. $100,000 for a defensive coach, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. Let's not get it twisted. That's going to hurt. Should have been more, I feel, because of the name and what we know, because the draft, we were all waiting for Shedeur to get picked, and for us to see him get drafted to the 5th round, 144th pick, I believe 144th pick, for him to get picked that low, and then to find out about this draft prank call that happened, I think it just adds salt into the wounds, and I think that it probably could have been more, but for them to do $100,000, it's still going to hurt. It still does send a message out there. Now, for the father having to pay for his 21-year-old son's, I can't even say screw up, but a deliberate jackass move, I know that father had to give his son the business. If my son, who is 21 years old, happens to do that, you are messing with my job. I could have been fired. I now at least got to take you outside, and we at least got to throw some hands a little bit. I at least got to two-piece you up a little bit, and then after that, I'll hold you up. I'll put some ice on your face, put some ice on the ribs, sit you down, and then we're going to talk about that mess after that. Because that's $100,000, G. For NFL coaches, I'm not sure how much you get paid unless you like the big primetime like NFL coach. But all these other coaches on them, I'm pretty sure they don't get paid like that. I'm pretty sure it's a good penny. But getting hit with a $100,000 fine, that has to suck. Now, whether the Atlanta Falcons take care of that themselves and they say that they're just going to pass it on to Homeboy, or either Homeboy has to take care of himself, that's still a pretty penny, boy. For him. That's still a pretty penny. Your son is 21 years old doing that. 21. He just wanted to be a complete jackrabbit. And it sucked. That had to suck. And just imagine Shedeur Sanders, whenever he got that phone call. That was probably like okay, I can't wait for me to get called up. And you had to wait. And then wait. And then wait. No. See, that's just where we're at right now. I don't like it. I think everybody's seen a prank call, didn't like it. I saw like the imagery and I read people's disgust about it. That's just nasty work. It's the NFL draft, bro. Your father works in the NFL. You should know how important the draft is to all these potential prospects. You know exactly how important it is, and you did that just to be a complete dickhead. That was nasty work, and now your father has to pay for that. I'm hoping that you at least got two-pieced up. That's what I'm at least hoping for. I'm not saying that the father should do it. I'm saying that if my kid were to do that, and again, this is a hypothetical, because right now I have no kids, but if my kid were to do that, and you jeopardize my job in the process of doing a prank that you want to go viral for, I'm going to two-piece you up. And then I'm going to ice you up. And then I'm going to sit you down and talk to you about it. And if you aren't getting my message, I might two-piece you up again. And then ice you up. And then let's constantly go into a circle to see if you're going to understand what I'm telling you. So that's just me on my thought process on this. I do feel sorry for the father because, again, that's a pretty penny that he has to pay for. And the son, being 21 years old, you have common sense. That wasn't a 14-year-old just trying to be funny, ha-ha, pranky. No, you're 21. You are, by and large, an adult, my friend. You knew better. You knew better. So I'm hoping that your father did get you in some type of way. That's what I'm hoping for. Whether he two-piece you up, that's all on you. But I'm hoping that you did at least get something for that. Now, moving off of him, I got to talk about Steve Smith. Steve Smith, ex-Panthers player, he is now being sued under homewrecker law for allegedly an affair that he had with a Ravens marching band member. Yahoo Sports will write up an article about it. In the article, it would say the husband of the woman who reportedly had an affair with Smith is suing the NFL great for over $100,000 in a civil lawsuit filed Tuesday. In the lawsuit, they would say Smith reportedly met the woman while filming an episode of the NFL's Most Interesting Jobs with Steve Smith for NFL Network. The two exchanged contact information and allegedly sent each other sexual text messages. The lawsuit then alleged the woman visited Smith in his hotel room in January. Smith, who played for the Ravens, was back in town attending the Ravens playoff game against the Buffalo Bills. A month later, the woman's husband posted messages on X accusing Smith of an affair. The man reportedly called Smith and confronted him over the alleged affair. Smith reportedly responded by repeatedly saying, "I'm sorry," during the call. Smith can be sued under North Carolina's alienation of affection law, according to the Charlotte Observer. The law allows a spouse to sue a third party for destroying a marriage. Is also known as the homewrecker law. In order for the lawsuit to be proven, the man must show that there was genuine love in the relationship before Smith got involved. So, let's see how that all plays out. But man, this should tell you right here. Don't ever get involved with someone if you're married. Both parties were married. Again, this is all alleged, but the video and the text messages have came out, so I'm not certain. You still gotta call it alleged because, again, in the court of law, things has to be hit with a gavel and say guilty or whatever the case may be, like go to the verdict or defendant. You get my point. It has to go to court. So in this, I have to say alleged. We've seen text messages that came out. Now, again, whether they're from Steve Smith, the real Steve Smith, or not, or that's a woman that he was texting or not, you still gotta say alleged. But from what we saw in the text messages, it seems that Steve Smith had a legit conversation and had a legit type of sexual relationship with this woman. Now, what comes of this is that Steve Smith himself is married. Steve Smith was married in 2000, and they will say that Steve Smith has 4 children. Now, my thing on this is this. You're not supposed to cheat if you get married at all. Now, that's obviously people cheat when they're married. People cheat when they're in a relationship. People just cheat. So that's just what it is. But when you're in the sanctity of a marriage, you're not supposed to cheat. That's kind of going against what you do, unless that's in your relationship wheelhouse. You and your spouse, your partner, have come to a partnership and an understanding about what each person needs. And if one person needs sexual gratification and they need to experience it outside the relationship and one of the partners is cool with it, hey, that's all on you and your partner and how you guys deal with that relationship, whatever. But as it stands right now, we have no idea what Steve Smith and his wife, what their relationship or their agreement was. So that's on that. But for this man that is suing Steve Smith, I'm pretty sure that was not the case for his relationship at all. Because if that was the case, I would not see him trying to sue Steve Smith right here. This right here is him suing Steve Smith, one, because his wife got, again, this is all alleged, got piked or done down by Steve Smith, because in his text messages, again, that was shown. We're not saying that it's really his or not, but from the text messages that were shown, Steve Smith and her, they were talking that talk in those text messages. And homeboy's genuinely hurt. Even with the video that did come out a couple months ago, because I did see that video a couple months ago when it was released, of him talking to, I believe it was Steve Smith on the other end, and you would hear like an "I'm sorry," but it wasn't like a saddening crying "I'm sorry" from Steve Smith, like, "Oh my God, don't say nothing to our brother." No, Steve Smith was like a confused of "I'm sorry." Like, if you pull up the video on YouTube somewhere, I'm pretty sure someone got it, but you get my point. Mans was not like a crying, apologizing, "I'm sorry." He was like a confused, dazed saying "I'm sorry" in that. So just this alone right here, I don't know how this is going to turn out for Steve Smith. I mean, if homeboy is going to be able to prove that him and his wife were in a loving relationship before Steve Smith came in, I can see Steve Smith being guilty. But since he did play in the Panthers, did play for Carolina Panthers, let's be honest, he might have some connects that might can get this thing rubbed out and taken care of. Again, I'm not saying that he does, but he might. Just, again, I just want to bring this up to let people know, whether you are an athlete or not, please do not cheat in your marriage. But if you do have a relationship, or if you have a partner that you have this conversation with, that you need sexual gratification outside of your deal that you got, I would say you and your partner need to pick the person that you need to mess around with to make sure that you never ever have a situation like this, because this shouldn't be happening right now to Steve Smith. Again, this shouldn't be happening to Steve Smith. Steve Smith, he did play a part in this situation, but you get my point. It seems like Steve Smith is like the second athlete that I've known, not personally, but I've just read about, that this has happened to. There was another guy that this happened to a couple years ago, about a whole homewrecker law business. I don't hear too much about basketball players getting hit with this, but football players, you guys get hit with this. So, football players, do not be doing this. Learn from Steve Smith's situation. That's all I can say for that on this issue right here. Godspeed, Steve Smith. Now I want to move over into court news for a minute. There is now starting the jury selection for Puff's court. He is now going to be headed to court. I want to say they got it scheduled for May the 12th, and now they're about to start having jury selection, I believe, tomorrow. By the time this drops on a Sunday, on Monday, they're going to be starting the jury selection for Puff's trial. And by the way, he is on trial for charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. So that's what he is on trial for. And Thursday at a hearing, he told the court that he rejected a plea deal that had been offered by prosecutors. So he did get a plea deal. He did turn it down. Again, I'm not certain how all this is going to roll for Puff, but I'm going to be waiting to hear how this is all going to play out. They're not going to be airing this on television or anything, which I think they should. This is a big trial. This is Puff. This is Sean Combs, bro. This is Puff. A big time music mogul member in the music industry. This thing should be played out in like television. There should be like recorders and videographers in there to have this thing airing on your television screens or your streaming services. This thing should be on those type of things, but they're not. They're not going to be doing that. There are going to be people inside the court that probably be writing something up, and that once the day's over, they will probably put it in a blog or write about what happened, and you'll have the big news not topics, but the big news companies taking snippets from it and relaying it back to you on their big news companies, the sightings, your ABC, CBS, NBC's, Fox, all that type of stuff. I'm going to let you know right now, if something juicy or spicy happens to pop up out the trial, I will be talking about it. The only thing I care about in this trial is the end result. Because a lot of things are going to be coming out. Some true, some not true, some salacious, some not salacious. Again, it is what it is with that. I just want to know what the end result is going to be. Whether he will be found guilty or not guilty of the charges that he is facing. That's it. Because if he's found guilty, that will dictate things coming in months ahead. And if he's not found guilty, that's going to be, again, dictating things that's coming months ahead after this trial is over. So again, unless something is, no, I'll be waiting until the end of the trial to see about this trial and the basis of that. The only time I will bring it up is if something too spicy comes out that I cannot ignore. I will have to bring it up here to talk about it. So, again, I'll be looking at Puff's trial and just waiting to see whether he's guilty or not guilty, and also to see whatever big habits come about it. Speaking of trial as well, it has been found that the former Abercrombie & Fitch CEO has been ruled unfit for trial, and he's been ordered to be hospitalized. Associated Press will write up an article about it. Michael Jeffries' lawyers sought the ruling last month, writing in a letter filed in a New York federal court that the 80-year-old requires around-the-clock care because of his Alzheimer's disease, Lewy body dementia, and the residual effects of a traumatic brain injury. The defense, as well as prosecutors, requested that Jeffries be placed in Federal Bureau of Prisons custody so he can be hospitalized and receive treatment that might allow his criminal case to proceed. The court finds by a preponderance of evidence that the defendant is presently suffering from a mental disease or defect, rendering him mentally incompetent to the extent that he is unable to understand the nature and consequence of the proceedings against him or to assist properly in his defense. So, he's going to be up in a hospital for up to 4 months. He's been freed on $10 million bail. And yeah, man, he's not going to be facing nothing. That's what it seems right now. I mean, if he's facing all that with Alzheimer's disease, the whole body dementia, all that, I mean, he's already in his own personal hell. So there's no more you can do about it on a earthly standpoint. But if he's faking all this, that's nasty work. So I'm just going to err on the caution of this. I'm going to just say that he has all that because that's a lot. So he's in his own personal hell. That's where I decided to believe on right there. If it happens to prove that my man was faking all this time, I hope that it comes out to the light and then I will talk about it. But as it turns out right now, Michael Jeffries was not at this time be facing trial for the allegations that have been levied against him. And just to remind you guys of the allegations, it was Jeffries, his romantic partner, and a third man. They use the promise of modeling jobs to lure men to drug-fueled sex parties in New York City, the Hamptons, and other locations. Again, this is all coming from the Associated Press. That's what the prosecutor would say as well. They said charges were announced in October that echoes sexual misconduct accusations made in a civil case and in the media in recent years. So Jeffries will not be facing any of those things at this time right now because he will be in a hospital for up to 4 months. So that's what's going on with Michael Jeffries. But I'm pretty sure his romantic partner and the third man still be facing those trials when their time comes up. Now, moving on to the last thing that I do want to discuss with everyone, or better yet, just to make you guys aware of, People Magazine would write up that Six Flags announced plans to permanently shut down theme park after 25 years. Maryland's Six Flags America will be shutting down after its last day to open to the public on November the 2nd, 2025. The theme park announced on May 1st that it plans to shut down the Six Flags America and Hurricane Harbor at the end of the 2025 season. As part of our comprehensive review of our park portfolio, we have determined that Six Flags America and Hurricane Harbor are not a strategic fit with the company's long-term growth plan, Six Flags President and CEO Richard A. Zimmerman said in a press release. After reviewing a number of options, we believe that marketing the property for redevelopment will generate the highest value and return on investment. So, this theme park will be closing down at the end of the 2025 season, which again they say is November the 2nd, 2025. So, this Six Flags is shutting down. They were out there, or they lasted for 25 years. I think that's a pretty nice time period for an amusement park to actually last. But yeah, summer vacation is coming up. This could probably be a good destination period for families that are closer to that area or states that are closer to it to go there. Say they were at that Six Flags before they close down. Let that be a nice little family memory for anyone that goes there. I just want to let you guys be, again, well known enough that Maryland's Six Flags America will be shutting down after November 2nd, 2025. So if you want to go there, make up your mind and do it. Is there anything of really important or news-wise that I have to mention? No, I believe that's everything that I do have up here to talk about. So, with that stated, it is now time for me to get you guys out of here. I would like to thank all the podcasting sites that have me on their program, whether it be Apple, Amazon, Podbean, Spotify, all the other podcasting sites. I would like to thank them because without them, I won't be able to get this podcast out to you guys as downloaders and listeners. So I'd like to thank those companies. I would also like to thank you guys as downloaders and listeners, because you guys see the episodes, you guys download the episodes, and you guys listen to them, whether you are in your car, whether you're in your home, whether you have it as background noise, or you listen to it in your headphones. I appreciate it so much because I see where the data is coming from. And again, I'm always shocked whenever this podcast makes it out of the United States and it's just international. I appreciate that so much. And it's not lost on me how much big that is and how big that is. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not lost on me, all right? And I really do appreciate that so much. So, again, thank you. Now, with that stated, always remember,
I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you.
I do love you all. That is not a gimmick. That is me being 100% honest. I appreciate and love every single one of you guys that, again, downloads the podcast, whether it be a Wednesday episode, a Thursday episode, Saturday episode, Sunday episode. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And I just want to give you guys the rundown for next week's podcasting schedule. Wednesday, I'll be back again with another midweek breakdown episode. Thursday, I'll be back with another wrestling related episode. Same thing with Saturday with another wrestling related episode. Sunday, I'll say you're gonna double dose episode. You get a Sunday episode and you'll get a wrestling related episode because WWE, I believe they have a premium live event pay-per-view next Saturday as well. So you get a review of that pay-per-view Sunday. So you get 2 episodes Sunday. So that's my schedule for this upcoming week. And that's it. I want everyone to have a great day. Be lovely. Don't be a dick to anybody out there. And just try to be on your best behavior and be your very best that you can be this week. And please do not stress out over things you cannot control. So with that stated, this has been the My 2 Cents podcast presented by G2. He is I and I am him. This isn't goodbye. This is until you hear from this sweet sounding voice again. And with that said, Kanye, could you please take these people home?
I'm tired, you tired, Jesus wept.